In the restless world of Seoul's entertainment industry, fame feels like both a blessing and a curse. Do-hyun, known to the public as the quiet genius of melodrama, walks through film sets like a ghost. His eyes, dark and thoughtful, hide memories of a childhood spent chasing approval. Across the same city, Ji-soo, a woman whose smile could start a storm, carries a different burden: the ache of being watched, judged, adored, and misunderstood. Her latest project demands vulnerability, and yet she fears it most. When both are cast in Autumn Glass, a drama about love and regret, the director doesn't realize he's done more than assemble two talented actors. He's lit a fuse. From the first table reading, something electric hums beneath the surface. They speak little, yet every glance stretches longer than it should. When the cameras roll, their scripted heartbreak feels too convincing, as though they're confessing truths they've never said aloud. The staff whisper. Fans start editing clips. But what no one knows is that when filming ends each night, they linger on set, walking through the artificial streets hand in hand, still half in character, half in something dangerously real. Seoul, at midnight, is a city of secrets. Do-hyun learns this the moment Ji-soo steps into his world beyond the cameras. In the small rooftop cafe where he hides from the press, she laughs, freely, loudly, and he realizes he's been holding his breath for years. Their conversations aren't about fame. They talk about the weight of pretending, the loneliness behind fan letters, and the absurdity of being everyone's fantasy, yet no one's truth. He tells her, "When they call cut, I feel like disappearing." She answers, "Then let's not wait for them to call it." Weeks pass. Their meetings become a quiet rebellion, rain-soaked rehearsals that turn into stolen kisses, script readings that blur into confessions. But in an industry obsessed with images, truth is the one thing they can't afford. Paparazzi follow, and speculation grows. To the world, it looks like chemistry. To them, it feels like salvation. One morning, entertainment sites explode with headlines: Do-hyun and Ji-soo, love on set. The article uses grainy photos, a shared umbrella, a touch on the arm, her laughter frozen mid-motion. It's nothing, yet it's everything. Their management teams panic. The director pleads for silence. Contracts are rewritten. They're advised to distance publicly, just until it calms down. But distance has never felt this cruel. The next day on set, they face each other through the lens of a camera, playing lovers ordered by a script, forbidden to touch when the director yells cut. The line between acting and reality shatters. At wrap-up, she disappears into her van without a word. He stands under the studio lights long after everyone leaves, the air heavy with what they can't say. In the months that follow, Autumn Glass becomes a national phenomenon. Fans cry, awards pour in, and every clip of their scenes trends online. The public sees only perfection. Behind the curtain, Do-hyun writes letters he never sends. "You once said the screen protects us, but I think it only hides the truth. If I could, I'd trade every spotlight for one ordinary morning with you." Ji-soo, meanwhile, buries herself in work. She smiles in interviews, thanking him as a dear colleague, but her eyes flicker when his name is mentioned. One night, while filming overseas, she watches their old behind-the-scenes videos. Laughter, warmth, unspoken tenderness, and realizes that maybe the story they acted wasn't fiction at all. It was prophecy. A year later, fate, or maybe cruel coincidence, brings them back together. A new script lands on both their desks. The title, The Time We Were. Neither knows the other has accepted until the first table read. When they walk into the same room, the air shifts again. The crew senses it. The world has changed, but their silence feels the same. On the second night of shooting, rain halts production. The others run for shelter. They remain beneath the drizzle, faces inches apart. He breaks first. "We keep pretending we're strangers. Does it make it easier for you?" She whispers, "No. It only makes it realer when I dream." The storm drowns out their voices, but for once, they don't hide. Cameras or not, the scene belongs to them. Months later, The Time We Were premieres. Critics call it achingly human. Viewers sense something raw, an authenticity impossible to fake. In interviews, both speak carefully, thanking the team, avoiding personal questions. Yet the public reads between every line, every shared glance. And one evening, during a live broadcast, Ji-soo smiles and says, "Some stories are meant to stay between two people. That's what makes them real." The comment trends instantly. Fans dissect every syllable. But Han Do-hyun doesn't clarify, doesn't deny. He simply posts a photo, a single umbrella under a streetlight, with the caption, "Autumn again." The internet erupts. Some call it marketing. Others call it confession. They never explain, and that becomes the beauty of it. Years later, long after new dramas have replaced their names in headlines, fans still talk about the chemistry that felt too honest. In the quiet spaces of their separate lives, perhaps they meet again. In cafes without cameras, under the same soul sky, two souls forever bound by a story they once told the world together. Maybe love, in their world, isn't about possession. Maybe it's about recognition. That fleeting moment when another person truly sees you, even if the world can't. And so, the legend of Han Do-hyun and Ji-soo Kim lives on. Not as scandal, not as rumor, but as a reminder that some scripts aren't written by writers, but by the hearts of those brave enough to feel. Time is both a thief and a healer. 5 years pass like silent waves, soft, steady, relentless. Han Do-hyun's name grows heavier with success. Every award he wins feels colder in his hands. His fans call him the actor who doesn't age. But those close enough to see his eyes know that it isn't youth, it's loneliness wearing his face. Ji-soo Kim takes a different path. She retreats from dramas, exploring film directing instead. Her work speaks for her. Quiet, honest, and heartbreakingly human. She's learned to channel the ache into art, the kind that lingers after the credits roll. And yet, in interviews, when someone mentions his name, a small pause always follows her smile. The audience never notices it, but her heart does. Some loves don't fade. They simply learn to exist in quieter forms. Fate, or maybe irony, brings them back together not through casting calls or scripts, but through coincidence. A film festival in Kyoto. 2 invitations, 2 names, 1 hotel lobby. She sees him first, standing by the glass doors, dressed in a tailored suit, the city lights behind him. He looks the same yet different, steadier, sharper, like a man who has learned how to hide his pain behind calm. He turns, sees her, and time folds in on itself. For a moment, neither moves. "Ji-soo," he says, softly, as though saying her name might break the spell.
Do-hyun.
They talk politely at first, the kind of small talk that happens between old friends who used to know everything. But as the night unfolds, the laughter returns, and so does the familiarity that fame once tried to erase. He admits, "I watched your film, the one about silence." She smiles faintly. "You are the silence I wrote about." It's not a confession, not really, but it's enough to make his heart stutter. Later that night, they find themselves walking along the Kamogawa River. The festival has ended, the city hums quietly, and the lanterns above the water flicker like forgotten stars. He tells her about his exhaustion, how the camera feels heavier now, how every role reminds him of a part of himself he's lost. She listens, then says, "Maybe you're not losing yourself. Maybe you're becoming who you were supposed to be." He laughs softly. "And what about you?" "I stopped waiting for things to last," she answers. "I just try to make them beautiful while they exist." The words hang in the air between them, bittersweet, honest, and familiar. When he reaches out to hold her hand, she doesn't pull away, but she doesn't hold back either. They simply stand there, fingers inches apart, bound by everything they can't say. The next morning, she leaves a note under his door. "Thank you for last night, for reminding me that love doesn't need to be claimed to be real." He reads it again and again, as though memorizing her handwriting might anchor him to the present. At the airport, cameras flash when they arrive separately. Reporters speculate, fans analyze expressions, editors prepare headlines. The familiar circus of fame continues, but they both remain silent.
No denials, no confirmations.
Just the quiet dignity of people who have learned that some stories are meant to stay private. Months later, Ji-soo releases another film, The Space Between Us. Critics describe it as a meditation on distance and longing. Viewers see it as art. He sees it as a letter. When he watches it alone in his apartment, there's a scene that mirrors their final night by the river. Two characters who don't end up together but smile through the pain of what they once shared. He smiles too, though tears gather at the corners of his eyes. Healing, he realizes, isn't forgetting. It's remembering without breaking. 2 years later, they meet again, briefly, accidentally, at a charity event. Cameras click, flashes blind, and for a second, the world watches as they exchange a gentle nod. No words, no drama, just peace. Later that night, a fan account posts the photo. They still look at each other the same way. The post goes viral, but neither of them comments. Because love, when it matures, doesn't need noise. It becomes something else, quiet respect, shared memory, invisible thread. Years later, on a rainy October evening, Do-hyun visits a small art exhibition. On the wall hangs a photograph titled, Autumn Again. It's a simple image, a city street under rain, two umbrellas, one slightly ahead of the other. The caption reads, "Some goodbyes never end, they just change form." He stares at it for a long time, smiling faintly, because he knows who took it. As he leaves, he murmurs under his breath, "You kept your promise." Outside, the rain falls softly, familiar, forgiving. Love doesn't always mean forever. Sometimes, it means meeting the right person at the wrong time and learning to live beautifully afterward. Do-hyun and Ji-soo Kim, two souls who taught the world that love, even when hidden, can still shine quietly through the cracks of fame. Because in the end, healing isn't about finding each other again. It's about finding yourself and realizing that they were part of the reason you did. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more touching K-drama stories and emotional news-style narratives.